Many people ask me the real secret to making big money. I tell them the absolute truth, but nobody ever believes me. They prefer to chase those fancy financial codes and overnight internet myths. But today on May 26, 2026, we are watching total chaos break out. Massive explosions were just heard across the strategic Strait of Hormuz coastal cities. The United States military is targeting missile launch sites and Iranian boats at sea. Heavy gunfire is erupting near Bandar Abbas and fighter jets are dropping bombs. You might think this conflict is just a piece of international news on your smartphone. You might treat it as some kind of free evening entertainment on your laptop screen, but I am telling you those flying missiles are accurately targeted. Bombing your wallet. Every single explosive out there is triggering a massive inflation tsunami in your bank account. Most people are completely blind to how macro disasters delete their personal purchasing power. They look at the stock market and only see numbers bouncing up and down. But behind those flashing red and green numbers is pure math and human psychology. Let us sit down and calculate the real lifetime cost of your financial ignorance today. When energy infrastructure gets threatened at the primary choke point of global trade, your local gasoline, your electricity bill, and your grocery shopping will all become more expensive. This is the invisible financial tax that everyone has to pay during a global crisis. Yet the average person is still busy trading stocks back and forth every single day. They pay high transaction fees to big brokers just to lose their principal faster. They love buying trendy mutual funds with high management fees because they look professional. That is just pure psychological comfort, which always leads to ultimate financial disaster. Remember that every unnecessary single consumer spending is a worker you fire yourself. You are literally firing the money employees who are supposed to work hard for your future if you keep buying overpriced stuff to show off to people you do not even like. You are trading your limited, irreplaceable lifespan for pure garbage that depreciates tomorrow. Think about a $3,000 luxury item which actually costs you 90 hours of life. Is that fake social status really worth 90 hours of your ultimate human freedom? The world is getting wilder and the traditional financial rules are all broken. Now look at the news about how quickly peace negotiations can turn into military strikes. The global supply chain is extremely fragile and your paper money is melting like ice. In summer, if you still leave all your cash sitting in a regular checking account taking zero interest, you are basically letting inflation steal your hard-earned wealth 24 hours a day. The only way to survive this systemic risk is to follow an anti-intuitive strategy. Stop trying to predict which stock will double next week, because nobody actually knows. Stop listening to those fake financial gurus who promise you 20% fixed return. They do not want to make you rich. They just want your registration fees and personal attention. The truth of building true wealth is incredibly boring and requires absolute patience. You need to practice extreme minimalism in both your daily life and your investment portfolio. Cut down your subscription services, clean up your messy investment accounts, stick to low-cost broad market index funds, and a reasonable percentage of physical gold. Gold does not pay dividends, but it is the ultimate shield when decision-making centers get attacked. Do not trade frequently, because the more you move, the more fees you give to the house. The house always wins if you behave like a hyperactive gambler. In a wild casino, true wealth winners are always the ones who can sit perfectly still for 5 to 10 years. They do not panic when the geopolitical agreements tear apart within 48 hours. They do not chase the high prices when global oil hits a new terrifying record. They just automatically save a fixed portion of their income and buy core productive assets. They understand that market volatility is just noise created by fearful human psychology. The mathematical reality is that compounding interest needs time and absolute mental peace. If you cannot master your own deep fear and greed, you are just meat on the chopping block. The financial system is designed to wealth transfer money from the impatient to the patient. So stop checking your portfolio every 10 minutes and go read a great history book. Understand how great empires fall and how real wealth survives over centuries of chaos. Build your own independent income source that does not depend on a single corporation. Invest heavily in your own skills and your own physical health, because that is your real base. No hyper missile can destroy the knowledge and critical thinking inside your brain. When the total conflict begins, only the calmest minds can protect their family assets. Be the boring person who saves money while everyone else is busy buying luxury items. Be the quiet investor who stays cash rich when the credit market completely collapses. The next 10 years will be a wild ride for anyone holding too much personal debt. Get rid of your consumer debts immediately before the interest rates burn your house down. Live way below your means so that no geopolitical shock can force you into a corner. This is not about being cheap. This is about buying your absolute freedom from the matrix. Wealth is not about how many things you own, it is about how many options you have. When you have enough financial runway, you can look at any global crisis with absolute calm. You can tell the chaotic world that you are totally fine because your math is completely solid. Let the gamblers fight for the crumbs while you focus on the long-term compounding machine. That is all I want to share with you on this crazy day of May 26. Stop watching the disaster show and start fixing your personal balance sheet right now. My close friend came to me last week crying about his portfolio losing 30% value. He was chasing some random tech stock based on a viral video he saw on his feed. I told him he was not investing, he was just donating his hard-earned cash to market makers. People do not want to hear that real wealth building takes thousands of boring days. They want a magic button that turns $100 into $10,000 by tomorrow morning. That magic button does not exist unless you are running the scam yourself. Look at the geopolitical map right now with the situation around the Strait of Hormuz. When a maritime choke point faces military strikes, it means supply chains tear apart instantly. Resource scarcity means the cost of transport, oil, shipping, insurance, and manufacturing will jump higher. When insurance costs double, your supermarket bill will follow the exact same path. You cannot run away from this reality by putting your head in the sand like an ostrich. You need to actively transform your depreciating currency into real hard assets. I do not mean buying fancy real estate with a massive 30-year mortgage attached to it. A giant mortgage during a period of high inflation and rising interest rates is a trap. It is a golden handcuff that forces you to say yes to a boss you absolutely despise. It forces you to wake up at 6 in the morning and trade your health for paper money. True financial safety means having zero consumer debt and a mountain of liquid cash. It means owning pieces of the global economy through low-cost total market index funds. When you own the index, you own the collective human ingenuity of the entire planet. Even during wartime, corporations will find a way to adapt, trade, and generate profits. Your job is to be an owner of those productive machines, not just a regular consumer. Stop buying the new smartphone every 12 months just because the camera is slightly better. That $1,000 phone actually costs you 30 hours of absolute corporate slavery. If you invest that same $1,000 into a broad market fund over 20 years, it will compound into a massive shield that protects your future retirement from poverty. But people do not have the patience to watch their money grow slow and steady. They want the dopamine hit of seeing a massive green spike on their trading app. That dopamine hit is the exact same feeling people get at a roulette table. And just like the casino, the stock market will wipe out the gamblers with absolute precision. The market has a special way of finding the most arrogant traders and taking their shirts. I learned this lesson the hard way when I was 19 years old, losing my entire savings. I thought I was a genius because I made $2,000 in one lucky afternoon. The next week, the market turned around and took my principal along with my self-esteem. That was the best financial beating I ever received in my entire young life. It taught me that without a deep understanding of probability, you are just a victim. It taught me that the math of wealth preservation is entirely about avoiding catastrophic losses. If you lose 50% of your capital, you need a 100% gain just to get back to even. Let that math sink into your brain before you place your next reckless speculative trade. Making a 100% return is incredibly difficult in a volatile global economy, so your primary objective should always be protecting your baseline from getting destroyed. Look at how political leaders play games while real weapons are being deployed on the ground. The financial market will create the exact same traps for retail investors. They trap you with good news and high prices at the absolute top of the market cycle. Then they cut off the liquidity and leave you holding worthless bags for the next decade. Do not let them trap you in their psychological wealth extraction schemes. Keep your asset allocation incredibly clean and simple so you can liquidate in 5 minutes if your portfolio is full of random altcoins, penny stocks, and complex derivative products. You do not own an investment portfolio. You own a financial time bomb with a burning fuse. When a global crisis hits, you will not have the time to unravel those complex positions. You will watch your net worth evaporate while your trading platform goes offline during panic. We saw this happen during previous market crashes, and we will see it happen again. Systems break down when human panic hits a critical mass of collective madness. The news about the strikes shows that stability is an illusion created by the media. We are entering an era where international trade routes can be disabled in the blink of an eye. This means localized inflation spikes will happen randomly without any advanced warning. The only defense against random inflation spikes is a massive personal profit margin. You increase your personal profit margin by driving your expenses down to the absolute bone. I live in a small, comfortable apartment and drive a simple, reliable used vehicle. My peers are driving luxury sports cars with $800 monthly payments. They think they look like successful young executives who have conquered the corporate world, but I know the mathematical reality of their stressful day-to-day existence. They are exactly one missed paycheck away from total financial bankruptcy and ruin. They are terrified of their managers and cannot sleep at night without sleeping pills. Meanwhile, I can sleep like a baby knowing my runway can last for multiple years. That absolute peace of mind is the greatest luxury money can ever buy for a human being. It is worth infinitely more than a fancy logo on a piece of leather or a shiny car grille. If you want to achieve true wealth, you must learn to love the boring process of saving. You must find joy in watching your investment balance climb up month after month, Treat your savings account like a high-level video game where the highest score wins. Do not use your investment gains to upgrade your lifestyle the moment you make a profit. Reinvest every single dollar of dividends back into the compounding engine. Let the money babies have their own money babies until you have a massive financial army. An army that can fight for you while you are sleeping, traveling, or reading a book. Geopolitical updates show us that international relations can collapse overnight. When trade agreements are targeted, it means old economic treaties are effectively dead. The global monetary system backed by endless debt printing is facing its final judgment. You cannot trust politicians to protect the purchasing power of your local fiat currency. Their only solution to every major crisis is to print more paper money and dilute your savings. They will print billions to fund defense contracts while your grocery store prices double. The only way to opt out of this system of slow theft is to own real productive assets. Own companies that produce food, energy, technology, and essential everyday services. Own a significant position in physical gold as an ultimate emergency insurance policy. Keep your overhead low, your mind sharp, and your emotional state completely steady. Do not let the fear-mongering media drive you into making impulsive financial decisions. They profit from your panic. Because panic drives clicks, engagement, and advertising revenue, they want you to be terrified, so you keep staring at their screens 24 hours a day. Turn off the news notifications. After you get the essential facts of the day, focus your limited daily energy on increasing your personal income and saving rate. Learn a new high-value skill like computer programming, data analysis, or digital marketing. Become an indispensable asset in your industry so you can command a higher salary. Then take that surplus salary and aggressively feed your long-term compounding machine. This is the simple cyclical formula that creates multi-generational wealth from scratch. It does not require a high intelligence quotient or a degree from an Ivy League university. It simply requires an iron discipline to resist the temptations of consumer culture. It requires the emotional maturity to stand alone while the crowd runs toward the cliff. When everyone is shouting about overnight riches, stay boring and stay calm. When everyone is panicking about the end of the world, stay patient and stay focused. The math of the universe does not care about human emotions or political speeches. Compounding interest will always reward the disciplined and punish the reckless. Make sure you are on the winning side of that mathematical equation. When the dust settles, the world right now is reminding us that life is completely unpredictable. Protect your family, protect your capital, and build an unbreakable financial perimeter. Stop living for the temporary validation of strangers on the internet platforms. Start living for the absolute sovereignty of your own time and your own destiny. You have the power to break free from the financial matrix if you start making smart choices today. Clean up your balance sheet, eliminate your debts, and invest like a sober, mature adult. Let the chaotic world spin around while you remain perfectly anchored in your solid math. While politicians are busy setting up entertainment stages on public lawns during international conflicts, you should be busy setting up your automatic investment transfers to buy undervalued assets, while other people are wasting hours arguing about foreign policy on social media apps. You should be auditing your bank statements to eliminate every single leaking cent. The differences between the rich and the poor are completely found in these tiny micro-choices. 1 hour of discipline today saves you 10 years of corporate pain down the line. Do not let the entertainment value of global chaos distract you from your ultimate life goals. Your target is not to watch who wins the war in the desert or the sea. Your target is to win the war against your own internal consumption impulses. Once you conquer your own mind, the external financial markets become easy to navigate. You look at price drops as discounts rather than terrifying economic emergencies. You look at high inflation as a reminder to work harder and buy more real assets. You look at market crashes as a generational wealth transfer designed specifically for you. This shift in perspective is what separates the top 1% from the remaining 99%. Be part of the minority that stays absolutely quiet, composed, and incredibly wealthy. Let the noise wash over you without affecting your steady pulse or your strategic vision. We are going to navigate these strange historical times with our eyes wide open. No blind spots, no illusions, and absolutely no tolerance for financial nonsense. Take control of your money before the chaotic global system takes control of your life. Keep your head down, execute your daily routine, and let the numbers compound. Stay boring, stay patient. Peace.